Let's get into this match here. LeChonk, Spires, both men choosing to go with the double thumbs up. Let's see who gets the ultimate thumbs up as they make their way to locking in their ticket to America's Cup Final. LeChonk with the first pick here, pre-bans coming out shortly.
Interesting that Spires has opted to let LeChonk have first pick here. I thought this would be a war for Oliver. And we're going to see Oliver being pre-banned, Light Monkey being pre-banned for Spires. So far, everything seems very standard. I think LeChonk's going to go with either a Moore or a Masha to open up this game.
Yep, Oliver's going to be pre-banned. Light Monkey King's going to get pre-banned as well. LeChonk very quickly to be drafting that Moore, taking that unit away from Spires.
Yeah, so Spires can go with a number of different ways to play this because he has so many LDs. He can probably go with a Masha and force aggression. He can run a Shizuka. Goes with a Molly, which is not what I was expecting because Molly tends to be weak into cleave here. He's opened himself to be weak into cleave. And we'll see if LeChonk can take advantage by going with some sort of a Changpeng, some sort of Fire Bison, some sort of controlling team, or a single target team like a Miles.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. Molly early pick like that's very interesting. Definitely expected to see that Masha for sure. LeChonk with the response here with the Changpeng and Tableau. Spires bringing out that devastating unit that can be devastating, the Gurkha.
Yeah, the Gurkha, if it goes off, pretty much wins the game on the spot. Spires is definitely playing for turn 2. LeChonk is definitely going for aggression here. LeChonk's last 2 units need to be damaged because there's a lot of defense coming out from Spires.
Ooh, LeChonk's going heavy damage right now. We're seeing a Dominic, and we're seeing a Mo Long wrapping up LeChonk's draft here. Spires looking to respond to both these heavy hitters.
Yeah, so when Spires needs to respond to these heavy hitters, he decides to take down the Nana, which means he's probably going to let the Mo Long through and might be taking out the Changpeng or the Tableau. Dominic is also a fair ban. There's just so many units that he needs to ban here. There's a lot of aggression coming out from LeChonk's side of the field here. I think if I was LeChonk, I would be thinking about just taking out the Gurkha because it's got an X factor to it that wins the game on the spot. But there's just so many ways that this ban could go. Some aggression definitely needs to be taken away from LeChonk's side. Probably, I guess he takes out the Mo Long here.
Yeah, Mo Long and Nana getting the ban. Speed lead for LeChonk looking to get first turn. Let's see if Spires can hold on with him taking turn 1. This is an interesting one. We've got newcomer versus newcomer looking to lock in their ticket. And we've got Moore looking to get us kicked off with the Despair Stun sitting on top of the Masha.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Spires' ban there because he's basically going to be eating a Tableau into a Changpeng with skill 2 into skill 3. Lots of damage. Some units going to go down really soon. Spires' Juno is going to need to be really good if he wants to come back in this match.
And just like that, Gurkha's gone missing. LeChonk did a fantastic job at removing a very complicated unit to deal with, and he made it look not so complicated.
Yeah, but at the same time, there is this Juno and there is this Masha coming up here with potentially a defense break. And if that Masha is able to take a proc, he's going to be able to take out a unit of LeChonk. LeChonk does not have heal, so he's going to need to look for a second unit.
Definitely. Should look for a reset there. No attack bar pushback going out onto the Masha. Masha resisted the reset as well. Fast sleep with the defense break going out onto the Dominic. Dominic did not take that well. Dominic looking terrible with the defense breaks. Despair stuns, I'm sorry. Stuns going out onto 2 units of Spires.
That's a massive proc from that Dominic because it gets him one step closer to dismounting that Masha. But again, that heal from that Molly is just so oppressive here. Spires looking like he's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, Wateryu Moore trying to deal as much damage as possible to the Masha. Masha still standing tall, though. Has not yet been dismounted. No slow is going to be applied to that Tableau. Look for Despair Stun for the Juno. Not receiving anything here.
Yeah, and of all the debuffs to get, that was one of the most difficult ones for Spire to deal with. That heal block is going to be massive. But again, that's so much damage coming from that Masha.
It really is, and Molly's able to heal the team, even throw the shields up to protect that Masha here. No Despair Stuns coming out here. I think LeChonk is looking for some big Despair Stuns. Not really receiving any, though.
Yeah, at this point here, LeChonk doesn't have an answer to Molly plus the other units, so Spires has a really good Molly here. And unfortunately, even though that Changpeng procs, it's not going to be able to live to see another turn.
It's crazy when you see it happen. Goes for the hit on top of the Juno. Juno's going to be revenging there. Taking out the unit on the revenge. Defense break sitting on top of Moore here. Moore is not going to be the winner here. Nice little Despair Stun, but that is definitely going to be it for LeChonk. Spires taking round 1 away from LeChonk.
Wow, what a dominating performance from Spires here. I would have thought that it would be really tough after that opening turn there. But when you look at it, and he has 2 fire units and he has a molly there, in his head he was probably thinking that he would be able to survive even with a unit off the field, and that's probably what he was banking for and how he was able to come back.
Yeah, I really liked how quickly he was able to deal with that Gurkha, but he just wasn't able to capitalize off of anything after that. As much as we think Gurkha can really shut things down, and Gurkha can shut things down, it just did not happen there. Well played, well done by Spires. He did exactly what he needed to do in that match.
Definitely did. Thought past the first wave of attacks and knew that with 3 units against 4, he would be able to take it home. So well thought out draft for Spires, very good. And so as we move into the next match, the pre-bans, I mean, I think Spires is going to be alternating pre-bans here between Wunsa and Light Monkey. Generally, you want to take out an LD that you don't have. And LeChonk is going to be isolating LDs of Spires as well, or Oliver and Gianna.
Yep, well, Gianna and that Wunsa getting pre-banned here. Masha being taken by Spires. Very quick drafts. Once again, they know what they want. LeChonk's going to be drafting that more. Chung Pung Spires hovering over Oliver.
Yeah, he hovers over Oliver. I think given how Spires has played, you would expect to see him go turn 2, but I think this is going to come down to aggression. I would like to see some sort of an Ethna with another speed lead. Maybe a Tomo would be really cool here to see like a Tomo Ethna and lock down LeChonk's team. But of course, when you have LD units like that, it's okay just to spam your LDs because they're generally very powerful units.
Yeah, Gurkha can be a winner if it's not handled correctly, so he's going to be locking down that Gurkha. Takes the Molly back, definitely questions it, locks that Molly in. LeChonk, after seeing Molly and Gurkha being drafted, let's see what he does here.
Yeah, so LeChonk's got a difficult decision to make because there's going to be a lot of disruption coming from that Molly, and I don't know if he has enough control and damage. If that Light Monkey gets banned out here, I don't know if that Chung Pung and Charlotte's going to be enough to take out Spire's team, which is really tanky.
We'll see. There's a lot of additional damage on the side of LeChonk. Speed leads for both players. 33 lead, though, for Spires. Spires looking to outspeed his opponent here as we get into this first match right here with Spires and LeChonk.
Spires is going to have 1 unit outspeeding, and then LeChonk's going to be able to open up. But again, Spires has proven to have very tanky units. But this is a lot of damage coming out from LeChonk.
Look at that second skill into a third skill with attack bar pushback. Masha not receiving that attack bar pushback here, possibly looking for a defense break. Massive damage onto the Chung Pung. Gets the additional turn, finishes off that Chung Pung.
Wow, what a huge resist of attack bar resets from Masha there, and then a huge proc able to take out that unit, so takes out a lot of damage coming out from LeChonk's side. LeChonk's going to need a proc a lot to come back.
Yeah, he really is, but he's got a good opening right here. He could definitely return dice to try to capitalize off things. Choosing not to return dice here. First skill's going out onto the Miles. Drops that Miles from the field, and we've got Masha looking for that defense break, and it's so scary. We could see an additional turn pop up after that.
Yeah, so Oliver is pretty much already written off in this match, but LeChonk needs to dismount this Masha. That's a giant sleep there on the Gurkha. Charlotte's absolutely going ham here.
Charlotte's popping off with all the sleeps. I think Charlotte's got all of her skills up. We can see a big skill too. Gets the Despair Stun again onto the Gurkha. Third skill with the attack bar pushback, boosting up his team here. Return dice, able to do it all over again.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage coming out from LeChonk, and Masha's dismounted, so no more protection coming out for Spires here, and Spires might go down.
Yeah, Spires might go down here. Nice little slow sitting on top of the Gurkha. Gurkha with the additional damage he needs to land the provoke here. If he lands that provoke, we could possibly see a solo here with the Gurkha.
Yeah, we might possibly see a Gurkha solo here. Was lucky to get that proc, did not have glancing, so I think this is gonna be a Gurkha solo.
Yep, Masha looking to finish off the tableau, maybe even try to take a shot at the Charlotte here. Does not happen. No sleep's going to be coming through. Look at all of that healing going down here. Everybody's going to get provoked. Look at the full health almost coming up from the Gurkha here. Skill 2 is available. Nope, does his first skill. A little bit of poke damage going out onto that water Ryu, but there's still provokes on the field.
And this game is over. This Gurkha's going nuts here. Not over. Does proc though. Massive proc from Spires. LeChonk's going to need to get really lucky with some stuns if he wants a chance to win.
That's exactly what he needs. He needs those Despair Stuns. That's a 2-turn provoke, and he's going to keep those provokes up here. There's that defense break, and we've got Masha looking to take advantage of that defense break. There you have it, Spires! With the round 2 victory over LeChonk.
Wow, what a good showing from Gurkha there. I almost thought that this was over and that Spires was going to go down, but he had a lucky proc from that Gurkha, and it wasn't glancing at that point, so he was able to showcase that unit. Otherwise, we would not have seen a single win from a Gurkha yet. But what a great showing from both players. I think that was so back and forth and really could have gone either way.
There was some fantastic back and forth into that match. I mean, LeChonk had it down, and then we saw the Spires go through with some really great moments as well. We got to see the Gurkha pop off, and that's pretty much where it locked in. I mean, LeChonk had opportunities to keep that Gurkha back, but he wasn't able to keep up with the Despair stuns on top of the Gurkha, and Spires was just able to hold on with that Gurkha and get that victory.
Yeah, when you have 22% versus 25%, I mean, it really could go down either way, and it comes down to these procs and these stuns here, and that's what Sunrise War is about. It's about procs, and it's about stuns, and that's how you know you have two fairly evenly matched opponents.
Yep, no pre-ban going out onto the Gurkha this time. Oliver getting pre-banned, Light Monkey King getting pre-banned as well.
So we see the same pre-bans as we saw in the first match here. Again, I think we're going to see a balance of aggression versus not going aggression. And Spires off the bat opting to take the Molly. We're going to see the same draft from the first match so far.
Yep, same draft once again, locking in Masha and Molly. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan, but here's Spires with 2 up on LeChonk.
Yeah, and Spires here is thinking if he wants to go through that same draft as he did in the first time, he does go with that Gurkha and does go with that Juno. LeChonk changing it up, instead of taking the Mo Long, goes with the Vert, and I don't think that's going to change anything because all Spires needs to do is lay a Nana, goes with the Tian Lang, signifying that he's going to leave that Vertihile on the game.
Yep, definitely leaving that Vertihile in with that Tian Lang last pick here. Possible bans on that Dominic. I don't think Spire wants to see those big damage coming out here. And does ban out the Dominic, and Tian Lang's going to be getting the ban.
Interesting ban of the Tian Lang there, but makes sense with his team. But the Tian Lang and the Gurkha, not sure why he would have drafted that because the two do not synergize at all. So we're going to see a lot of aggression coming out from LeChonk here, and it's going to be up to Spires to be able to survive and get his Gurkha online.
Yep, 100%. I think we're going to see LeChonk have a great start once again. There's no immunity on this field. Goes with the second skill. Does he get the additional turn? No additional turn is going to be coming out here, but the return dice is going to be reducing attack bar with Vertihile looking to pump up his team. Serious Matter is going to be coming out trying to take advantage of the no-willed units here. A little bit of resistance on top of those attack bars, though. Gets that beautiful Despair stun. And an additional turn coming out of this Tableau.
Yeah, and that's massive misses on the attack bar resets on the 2 fire units. It's going to allow Spire to do a lot of damage into LeChonk's team. It may ultimately be a deciding factor of this match because this Masha is going to be able to take a turn and do a lot of damage.
Yeah, Masha looking at the big defense break on top of that Chung Peng. Chung Peng still alive. We've got Gurkha still alive as well, but there it is, Juno dropping that Chung Peng. We've got Vertihile dropping that Gurkha.
Yeah, so it's going to come down to see if LeChonk can do enough damage with the Moor. He's going to need to get a lot of stuns online, and Spires is going to need to find a window of opportunity with the defense break from the Masha.
Yeah, most definitely. Little sustain there with getting that stun on top of that Juno for sure. Vertihile looking to get the dismount on top of the Masha. You can see LeChonk's definitely going to be focusing down the Masha. He wants to get that dismounted as soon as possible. He wants to get away from those defense breaks. Vertihile still trying to pummel in all the damage that he can. More looking to pummel in any damage. No Despair stuns, but an additional turn coming out from this Tableau.
Yeah, interesting choice of him to use that skill 3 there. Not sure if it really gave him a turn advantage, but at the same time he procced, so it really didn't matter. Spire's looking very healthy here. Units being able to survive. So far he looks to be surviving with that Molly.
Ooh, 2 negative effects sitting on top of the Juno, but he's able to take advantage of that with the Vertihile. Vertihile dropping the Juno, and he's going to continue to try and pummel in all the damage that he can on top of this Masha.
Yeah, and LeChonk's going to be doing a lot of damage with this Moor. This Moor Vertihile combination is just so much damage. I think Spires is going to have his Masha dismounted, and that's exactly what happens, and Spires is not going to be able to hang on.
No, not at all. So many additional turns coming out of this Tableau as well. Beautiful stuns there. LeChonk did exactly what he needed to do. He held on, and he took down Spires in this round 3 match. We're getting into a game 4 with LeChonk and Spires.
So much back and forth there. Again, as usual, just so much damage flying back and forth. And that Verd was really the difference maker. It allowed that Moor to do a lot of damage. That Moor is very effective into Juno and Masha doing a ton of damage. I wouldn't be surprised to see if there was some plus fire component to it and a lot of additional damage. And that Verd just allowed him to pop off. That Molly was just not enough healing to keep his team up.
Definitely not enough healing at all. LeChonk has a great start to his matches, and if he's able to keep that going, I think LeChonk definitely could bring this back into a Game 5 for a victory. We'll see if LeChonk's able to do that, but Spire still being very, very tough. I do like his drafts, and I do like what he has been doing, but let's see if it works out for him going into a Game 4.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the pre-bans and bans come out here. I think we're going to see very normal pre-bans coming out. That Wunsa being pre-banned from Spires, and then probably some sort of an Oliver being pre-banned from LeChonk to kick this off.
There's that Gianna and Wunsa getting pre-banned once again. Spires with the first pick.
Yeah, so it's going to be probably some sort of a Masha first pick here to kick things off. And then we're going to see LeChonk probably respond with the more in a Chung Pong as he did previously.
Yeah, he's been first picking those units. He's been going with that exact same play style. I think the only benefit here is Spires can tweak his draft knowing how LeChonk is going to be playing out here. Does he choose to bring that a Tableau and another combo unit again like Charlotte?
Yeah, and instead he goes with the Oliver Molly. And again, we're seeing the Verd pick a lot, which I'm not sure about LeChonk taking that Verd when there's 2 picks left from Spires. I think that's a little bit of a weak pick there. You also have a Moore that's not exactly the best unit into the Tianlang. So Spires laying down that Tianlang, I would not like to see a Gurkha. I think the Gurkha would be a little odd because there's a lot of dyssynergies between that and a Tianlang. But I wouldn't be surprised to see it because it is an LD unit, and when you have these fancy units, you have to show them off. And that's exactly what we're not seeing it. He denied us the Gurkha pick.
Yeah, it takes that Gurkha away. LeChonk was doing a very, very good job of dealing with that Gurkha there. Light Monkey King making an appearance as this 5th pick for LeChonk.
So we're going to see Verd and Tianlangs should be the bans here. I think, well, it takes out the Light Monkey. Interesting. That makes sense as well here. The Light Monkey is very dangerous here, but the Tianlang definitely has to be banned out from LeChonk's side.
Yep, most definitely. Speed leads for both players here. We've got Spires with 33. Is that going to be enough to take turn 1 away from LeChonk?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. That's a very fast opening from the Moore here, going into a Chung Pong and then a Tableau reset on this whole situation here. So LeChonk's going to do a lot of damage, and Spires is going to need to hang on.
That's right. I mean, LeChonk has had excellent starts to all of his matches. It's about keeping that momentum going. Oliver with the reset attack or pushback on top of that Chung Pong. Additional turn, obviously coming out here, looking for that reset. Not getting it, though, is resisted on top of the Tableau.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he decided to go after the Oliver there. I think he should have laid damage into the Molly and take out the Molly. He has 2 more units that are going to do some damage. So not sure about LeChonk's decision making there, and he's going to lose his Tableau.
Definitely going to be losing his Tableau here. I mean, either the Molly or the Oliver could have been the one to take out the Tableau with as much HP as he had left here. We can see the sustain starting to come through with the Molly, and Masha's going to keep with this onslaught on top of this Chung Pong.
Yeah, I'm not sure, again, what Spires is planning to do hitting that Oliver. That Oliver doesn't have defense break, is really not taking much damage here. He really should be thinking about that Molly, because that Molly's going to keep Spires' entire team up. And that once that Oliver gets online, it's taking over.
Exactly. It's exactly what's going to be happening here. There it is. Juno's going to be dropping that unit there. LeChonk definitely not looking good. Now LeChonk's deciding to go after the Molly with the defense break sitting on top of it.
Yeah, not sure why LeChonk decided to split his damage out like that. Kind of an odd way to do things, and of course, just lost the Verd just like that.
Yep, just like that. Spires looking excellent in this 4th round match between LeChonk. We've got Masha trying to do some finishing damage here. Waterryu needs to see nothing but despair stuns to finish off Spires here, and that's what he's got to see, and I don't think that's what we're going to be seeing right now.
Waterryu's going to need to see nothing but procs and despair stuns, and it's not happening for him.
Not happening for LeChonk, but Spires taking that 4th round victory and moving forward in today's tournament.